guys, and welcome back to another book video with your two favorite book nerds, Amy
and Kelly.
And today we are doing our January wrap-ups.
First of the year.
First of the year.
First of the year. Let's get the crap out of the way right off.
For real though. For real.
Yeah.
Okay, my January reading month was...
Yeah. Yeah.
So bad. So bad. As you'll see here shortly. Just in ratings though, because as far as amount of books read, I did great.
You did. Look at that stack. Look at that stack.
Plus one more. I read 11 books in January.
Look at that stack.
I don't know how it happened. I don't know who she is, but she was here.
I read 3.
Earthquake, the universe.
I read 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Reading slump. It's called a reading slump, and I am in it hardcore.
Clearly happens to the best of us.
Hardcore reading slump.
Yeah.
Oh well, that's alright.
How she goes sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. With all that being said,
let's get in it.
Let's get in it because our brains are not working well today. So
no,
it's best to just keep it going.
Yeah. Let's just keep rolling.
So, all right, ratings. I think I started last month. You
want me to start? Okay.
You can start.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, you got a new little notepad.
Yes, so I subscribe to the BookBox subscription, which is it's a subscription, and that's why I subscribe to it. Caffeine and Legends, and one of the things that they sent me in one of the boxes is this little like reading notepad. It's got a place for notes, a place where you can write your lists. I don't know if you're seeing any of this at all. Those little stars, you can fill in what your star rating was, and a place for notes, a place for goals, favorite quotes, that kind of thing. Anyway, it was just fun, and it was handy, so I grabbed it because I'm not really the kind of person that like journals their reading, but anyway, Caffeine and Legends. It's a fun box to get. So, yeah, I had 3 books. I had 1 4-star, 1 3.5 star, and 1 3-star, for an average of 3.5 stars.
All right. So with my 11 books, I had.
She's gonna say that every time. With my 11 books.
You know what? It is not every. It is rare that I can not only outread Kelly, but really outread Kelly. Okay, like I blew her out of the water in January. Okay, I am going to revel in this. Okay, I'm gonna sit here.
You say that every time. With my 11 books. I'm so loopy right now. I'm gonna shut up. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I had 1 1-star, 4 2-stars, 1 2.5 star, 3 3-stars, 1 3.5 star, and 1 4-star, for an average rating of 2.5 stars in January from my 11 books.
I was just gonna say, how's that for your 11 books?
I said it was a bad month.
Okay, onward. Pages?
Pages.
So, for my 3 books, I can't read my handwriting without my glasses. I read 1,128 pages for an average of 376.
That's cute.
I did forget, by the way, to mention that I did have a 4th book that I DNF'd. So I did not include that in any of the stats, but so I had a 4, 3.5, 3, and a DNF. Just to say.
So, my 11 books, the page total for those 11 books came out to be 4,280 pages for an average of 389 pages per book.
Oh, I thought your average would be higher than that. I mean, you know, it's respectable and all, I guess, but it's sorry. It's just there are some chunky Stephen King books in there.
Oh,
Okay.
we didn't do longest and shortest.
Oh, longest and shortest. Okay, so my shortest was Starter Villain by John Scalzi at 262 pages. And the longest, sadly, was Kristen Hanna's The Four Winds at 448 pages.
My longest was also The Four Winds, surprisingly. And the shortest one for me was House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher. I don't know what it was at.
Something.
I forgot to write it down.
Somewhere.
I had 11 books to keep track of, so
Who could possibly?
yeah.
Who could possibly?
It's just a lot, okay? It's a lot.
Okay.
Author?
Authors?
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 Genre? Authors? Okay, authors. So I had 2 or 3 different authors. 2 of them were repeats, which I've read from before, Kristen Hanna and TJ Klune, and 1 new author, John Scalzi. And I will read from 2 of them again, TJ Klune and John Scalzi, and I don't ever intend to pick up a Kristen Hanna book ever again.
I concur. I had 5 authors I've read from before: Stephen King, Grady Hendrix, T. Kingfisher, Nick Cutter, and Kristen Hanna. And that would be 3 new to me authors, which was Lisa Jewell, Taylor Adams, and Deanna Rayburn. And I will read from all of them but Kristen Hanna again.
Okay, so genres. I had 2 science fiction and 1 historical fiction, and the one I DNF'd. Oh, by the way, yeah, the DNF one was Pierce Brown, and I will not be reading from him again either.
I had 4 horror and 6 mystery thrillers, and then 1 historical fiction.
Okay, the books.
The books.
Let's books. I'm just getting mine out of the way so I can kick back and take a nap while she talks for the rest of the hour.
Yeah, because I have 11 books.
Yeah.
So.
11.
Mhm.
In case you missed it, she read 11 books this month. Just want to be sure everybody caught that one. Okay, so I'm going to start with the DNF book, which is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Lightbringer was on the Goodreads, number 2 on the Goodreads Choice Awards. So I had never read any of the Red Rising series, and I wasn't about to jump in at book 6. So I started to read Red Rising, and I DNF'd it because I found the writing to be really immature, and it read very much. Oh, hello. Okay.
Ghost.
Oh shit! A ghost!
Yeah, I thought it was read really YA for an adult science fiction, and I really, oh my gosh, the dog. Hello, baby. Oh yes. This is Sarge. Sarge, you wanna look at the camera? Look up here. No, nope. The main character was perfect. Gary Stu could do no wrong. Yeah. And then there was a certain trope in the book. I believe in the video that we did on it, I described it as a very cold trope in a confined space. That I don't like it unless it's done differently than the stereotype, and this wasn't. And then afterwards, the information surrounding this trope was described in such agonizing, angsty detail. It put me off. It put me way off. So I DNF'd it at that point. I think I was around 25 to 30% in. I was listening to an audiobook. Okay, so the number 3 was Kristen Hanna, which was our December book club book that we talked about in January, and I finished it right before the book club. So, yeah, you can go watch that video. Historical fiction about a woman in the Depression era. She starts out on an Oklahoma farm in the Dust Bowl. Talks about, all of the dirty 30s and all of that, and then she ends up, because of health reasons for her family, ends up picking them up and moving to California and all the trials and tribulations that then followed that. I gave it a 3 because I thought the description of the Dust Bowl stuff was pretty good. I thought the description of the Depression era type stuff, like the camps and the tent cities and all of that, was pretty good. I thought it described the social problems pretty good, like how these migrant farmers were treated. But she just has to throw in these crappy family dynamics, and her go-to seemed, of the 2 books of hers I've read, her go-to drama factory seems to be mothers and daughters. And it's always just way too much for me. And she literally said in her author's note, well, when I was thinking about how I could create drama, I thought, well, mothers and daughters. So she does it on purpose. There's like, yeah, okay, so anyway. 3 stars because I enjoyed the historical aspects. None because her family drama crap I can't stand. And so I don't know. That's why I won't read anymore from her. 3.5 stars was In the Life of Puppets by T.J. Klune, which is about a human that lives with robots and machines, and they make this discovery and then have to go on an adventure. I'm not sure what else to say to that other. I won't spoil anything. So you can go watch the video where we talked about these as well. I think it was really good. He writes really well. I liked the main character okay. The robots were funny for a while. The humor did start to wear on me. I just think there was a missed opportunity to discuss what it means to be human when you have this singular human in the midst of nothing but machines. I think it kind of missed the mark on that one, so it was okay. 3.5 stars. And then the last book I read was Starter Villain by John Scalzi, about this kind of guy that's down on his luck. He's been through a divorce. He was laid off from his job. He was working in a temporary job that he hated that made, no money. He was really rock bottom, down and out. And he finds out that his rich uncle left him his business, and his uncle was a villain. And so he has to go in and take over his uncle's business and kind of protect. He goes up against this group of other villains who are doing the running the world thing, and he has to go up against them. And it's really clever. It's got the kind of banter that I think in the video I described it. It reminded me of Gilmore Girls. Mm-hmm. It's not Gilmore Girls, but it's that kind of intelligent, witty, back and forth banter that I thought was funny. And it turns out the main character, Charlie, where you don't really think that maybe he's too smart or too intelligent or can handle anything going on, he is. And he turns out to be a really intelligent character. And the cover is not a lie. It's not a lie. There's cats. Lots of cats. So, 4 stars for this book. I think it lost a star for me because I think it could have been developed a little bit more. It's a really short book, like 260 pages. I think if it had been developed a little bit more, some of the aspects and fleshed out, it would have been a lot better. But still 4 stars. And now I'm done. So I'm going to sit over here and sip my coffee and maybe take a little snooze for her 11 book wrap up. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, so Killers of a Certain Age. I'm not going to talk about this one because we just did our whole live discussion of it. The only thing that I'm going to say is that I was a little bit disappointed by this book, and I think it could have been done better. I did give it 3 stars just because it was kind of like a middle of the road book. So, No Exit by Taylor Adams is a book about this girl who is driving to go and see her mom who is in the hospital because she finds out that she has pancreatic cancer or something, some type of cancer, and she's pretty much, they caught it too late and she had to have surgery and all of that. So this girl is driving to go and see her mom one last time before she dies because they had a really rocky relationship like all of her life, and she has some things she needs to get off her chest before her mom passes away. But unfortunately, along her drive, she ends up running into this humongous snowstorm blizzard, and she has to pull off and take a stop at a rest area. And she's not the only one there. There are a few other people that are there that have also been stranded by the snowstorm, and she finds out that while she's outside trying to like get service on her dying cell phone, she finds that in the back of the van there's this little hand that comes and hits the van window, and she takes a peek inside the van and sees this little girl that's locked inside of this van. And so now she knows that somebody in this rest area has a little girl locked in the back of the van, has kidnapped this child, and so she has to try and figure out who it is and fight to help save the kid and also get out of this rest area alive. It's a really, really great premise, and I think that it could have been so good. So reading this when I did, it was like snowstorm, blizzard, and everything outside is when I read this book, which was the perfect setting for it because it really helped put you into the story as far as that goes. Because without having my own real life setting of the snow, I don't think that you would get that from this book, because all of the characters, they would be out in this terrible snowstorm. There's like multiple feet of snow on the ground, and it's like -degrees, winds blowing, it's super, super cold, and these people are out walking around in t-shirts, and the little girl's in the van for hours on end without it running, and she's not acting like she's cold. Like, nobody is responding to the inclement weather that they are in. And so that kind of like took away from the story a little bit, but you know, I supplemented with my own snowstorm outside, so I guess that worked. I also think that you find out who the villain is very early in this book, so it's not really so much a thriller, or it's not so much as a mystery as it is like a thriller, because she's fighting to stay alive at that point once the villain's revealed, which I thought was good. Like, it definitely was like, oh my gosh, like, how is she gonna get out of this? But the ways that she chooses to try and get out of things is really kind of dumb, and she makes a lot of dumb, reckless decisions that's like, girl, let's just take a second to think, okay? Also, the villain in this book is very like mustache twirly kind of a villain, like over the top, like everything's it's so dramatic, and I hated that. Like, that does not fit this whole thing we got going on here, and it was just too much. The whole concept behind like the little girl and why they kidnapped the little girl is dumb, and there's a little bit of drama that they threw in there that didn't need to be there, like surrounding her backstory. It was literally just thrown in there so that way there would be like another like, oh my gosh, we have to do something, like now, we have to figure out something now.
Another reveal.
Yeah. And it was like, really? Like, why would these kidnappers choose to kidnap a girl with that? Like, what? It was just, it made no sense. Especially for what they were planning to do with her. Like, really? Really? It was a quick read. Like, it definitely was one that I wanted to like keep reading. They did turn this into a movie, which I was like reading and I'm like, this would be like a really good movie for sure. It's not. They didn't do a very good job with the adaptation. In fact, like, they changed a lot with the movie, and I think that ruined it because it's like the things that they made happen in the movie just didn't make a lot of sense. So I would say read the book over watching the movie, or watch the movie and don't read the book, because one or the other is going to ruin it. So, Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. This book, hyped to the max. It was on so many lists of like, this book is going to mess you up. Like, this book is so it's mind-blowing. Like, it's amazing. I don't want to say I hated this book, but I really strongly did not like this book for a lot of different reasons. I'm just gonna read the back of the book.
There you go.
Because I can't decide how I want to explain how this book is without spoiling things. So, here's what this book is about. Ellie Mack was the perfect daughter, and then she was gone. 10 years after Ellie's disappearance, her mother, Laurel, is trying to put her life back together when she meets an unexpectedly charming man in a cafe. Before she knows it, she's meeting Floyd's daughters, and his youngest, Poppy, takes Laurel's breath away. Because the eerily precocious Poppy is the spitting image of Ellie. And now the unanswered questions she's tried so hard to put to rest begin haunting Laurel anew. Where did Ellie go? Did she run away from home as the police have long suspected, or did something more sinister happen?
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun dun dun. So yeah, Laurel basically kind of like reopens the case into what happened to Ellie, and finds out that there are a lot of secrets that Floyd is keeping from her, and a lot of weird things going on behind the scenes. I did not understand why this book got the hype that it did, because first of all, it was predictable. Like, you could see where things were leading from a mile away, even with what was supposed to be like the big twists involving Ellie. That was like a mile away. The characters were not developed well. They were very like cardboard cutouts. I didn't have any feelings for any of them, not even Laurel or Ellie, which was really sad given what happens to her in this book. So it's like, I really didn't care. All of the people were just batshit crazy, and it's like, it made no sense, some of the things that they were doing. I hated Floyd so much, and I didn't like Poppy, and Poppy was supposed to be like the best character, and I didn't like her. She was a lot, man. She was a lot. And the relationship between Floyd and Laurel was gross. Just gross. It was so like love bomby. There was so much like self-shaming happening in this book from most of the characters. There was a lot of like repetitive things happening. It was just boring and predictable and just weird and dumb, and I didn't like it. Okay.
It destroyed her, but not for the reasons.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
But everybody said it would.
Yeah. The Deep by Nick Cutter. I gave this book 2.5 stars. I know.
Oh no.
I know.
Nick Cutter was your
I
darling.
know. He was my top author from 2023.
Oh.
I know.
Oh. I thought that would be, which I should have known better because I know which one's your 4-star read. But sorry. It's cold in this room, and we cannot have the heater on because of sound.
Right.
I'm gonna go get a Shaw's.
Okay.
I'll be right
I'll
back.
be here.
You talk.
Yep.
Your 11 books.
I know. Okay, so The Deep is about there's this disease that is going around in the world called the Gets, which is, if you are infected with the Gets, then you are going to slowly start to forget everything. So at first it's going to be little things here and there that you'll forget, like simple, normal, whatever, but eventually it's going to progress to the point where you're going to forget to breathe, your heart's going to forget to beat, you're going to forget how to live, and that's eventually what's going to kill you. And our main character in this book, he's a veterinarian, and his brother is this like genius. Hi, Sargy. Me and Sarge will talk about books now. So his brother is this genius scientist, like the best scientist of their time, whatever. Like he's done made so many huge leaps in the field of science, and he's very well known. And so once this plague, the Gets, starts going across the country, of course, or across the world, of course everybody wants to have the brother, the scientist, there on the job of trying to find out a cure for the Gets. And while they are down exploring the Marianas Trench, they come across this substance down there they end up calling ambrosia. And so his scientist brother and some other scientists go and travel down to the bottom of the Marianas Trench, which is like 8 miles under the sea. 8 miles down, I think.
Hey, what the heck, man? Get down. Thank you. Goodness, here.
Thank you.
You took my chair.
Yes, Archie.
Yeah.
So they're like 8 miles down under sea level or whatever, the very bottom of the Marianas Trench, in this underground science lab that they built so that they could try and study this ambrosia, which they believe could have the ability to not only cure the Gets, but also like cure all other diseases. And Luke, our main character, ends up getting a phone call from like the leaders of the research team and all of that, requesting that he come down to the science lab, the science center, because his brother has been requesting that he goes there, like, come home, Luke, come home, which is odd. Not just because he's saying come home, but also because him and his brother haven't spoken in many, many years, and so it's really weird that his brother would want him to be there at all. They have a very bad relationship. And so, begrudgingly, Luke goes because he wants to obviously find a cure for this disease. A lot of crazy things happen. I had high hopes for this one because I really thought that it was going to play big into my fear of the ocean. I have a grand fear of the ocean and what lurks in those waters, and it really didn't focus too much on what's out in the ocean, and a lot of the action, everything happens inside of the science center and revolves around the ambrosia and all of that. And I didn't feel any fear with it. There were a lot of gory scenes, for sure. I found that Nick Cutter loves to write gore, much like Stephen King. They're there. And they were well done, but there wasn't anything that really truly freaked me out. And that's what I was really hoping from this book. Like, I wanted to be scared, because it's kind of like you're trapped down here at the bottom of the ocean because there was no way for them to go back up. Like, there were a lot of contingencies and things like that, and so they were trapped with this this monster or whatever, and they were like kind of trying to figure out the mystery and also fight for their lives at the same time while going a little bit crazy. And it didn't work for me. I didn't feel anything really for it, and that was really sad. A House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher. I talked about this already pretty extensively in our other video, so I'm not going to go too in-depth with it. This one was a little bit of a disappointment for me just because it was pretty slow until like the very end of the book. So had the pacing of the end and the action that was in the end of the book been all throughout it, or at least been the majority of it, it would have been a lot higher rating, but because it wasn't, I gave it 3.5 stars. It was so good. Like, T. Kingfisher doesn't write a bad book, but this one just wasn't her best one, in my opinion, that I've read so far. How to Sell a Haunted House is also in our Goodreads book video, so again, not going to talk about it, but this book was really good. If you want a good haunted house story, like a great haunted house story, read this one. It creeped me out so much that I could not read this book at night. So yeah, that one was 4 stars. Holly was also a part of that video, and I still want to throw this in the trash somewhere. It was terrible. 1 star, hated it, and I don't want to get into why. It's in the video, you can go watch it. So then I'm going to talk about the last 3 books. There'll be another one here all together because they are a trilogy, and I ended up reading this trilogy because before I picked up Holly, I had watched some videos. If Holly was in fact a standalone, or if it was like one that you had to read all of the other books first before reading, because Holly is a character in the Mr. Mercedes trilogy, and then also is a part of the Outsider trilogy. So there's like 6 books total, part of this world that Holly is involved with. So I wanted to see, before reading it, if I had to read all the other books first. And everyone was like, you could read Holly as a standalone, but spoilers. Like, there's a lot of spoilers in Holly that will like ruin the other books for you. So like, if you want to read the other books at any time, don't read Holly first, read the other books. I'm like, okay, fine, I will do that, I guess. I only made it through the Mr. Mercedes trilogy, and I have to say, all of those people who said that Holly had spoilers, wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. Okay, there was nothing in Holly that you didn't already see coming from the page 1 of these books. Okay? No. No, no, no. You can read Holly as a standalone. Let me just say that. Yeah. Mr. Mercedes is the first book in the trilogy, and then there's Finders Keepers, and then End of Watch. This one was my favorite of the 3. I gave it 3 stars. It is about this massacre that happens at City Center on the day of like this huge job fair for the town. This car comes barreling off the street and runs into the crowd and kills a whole bunch of people, severely injures a lot of people, and he's known as the Mercedes Killer. They never caught him. They didn't know who he was. Well, one of the lead detectives on that case ended up retiring, and after he retired, our Mercedes Killer thought it would be fun to send him a letter in the mail being like, hey, you didn't catch me, and like blah 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 blah, you suck, pretty much. And he gives him this login for an online site where they can chat with one another. And so our retired detective, instead of going to the police force, says that I don't trust anyone on the police force to handle this correctly without fudging it all up. Great loyalty, by the way. He's like, I don't even trust my ex-partner. He will mess this up and our killer is going to get away. I have to handle this on my own because I am the best detective.
Oh, nice.
So that's what he does.
Gotta love a character that thinks so well of themselves.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
Yeah. So that's what he does. He handles it himself. And almost gets a whole freaking bunch of people killed because of it. Like, thousands of people killed. Because of his poor decisions. And his reckless behavior. And his ego. Pretty much. I don't know. It's supposed to be like a crime drama, mystery thriller. There was no mystery in this book. There was no mystery in any of the books. It was all, because he gives you the point of view from the killer and the point of view from our detective. So you already know what the killer's moves are going to be and what the detective's moves are going to be. And it's just a tennis match where you already know who's going to win. So like, there is no mystery to it. Like, I really would have preferred to have only seen from the detective side and actually have him try and figure out the case. But I already knew the case. I knew what was going to happen. It was boring. And it was dumb. I didn't like it. Except for the ending part where they were trying to stop the Mercedes Killer from killing again. That part was good. It was thrilling. And I was like, oh my gosh, are they actually... That was good. That was good. Because he did throw in one thing in there that I wasn't entirely expecting. So I'm like, oh my gosh. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't like the detective Hodges is his name in any of the books because his reckless behavior continues through all of the books. And he still refuses after this one where he almost gets a whole bunch of people killed to still not go to the police when he should. Like, bruh, you were a detective for like 50 years, okay? Like, you should know better. Stephen King needs to just not write crime dramas and stick to horror because they were boring. This book shouldn't have even been involved in the trilogy because it had nothing to do with Detective Hodges or Holly really until like the end. It was just like, why is this book in here? It could have been a standalone. Like, completely pointless to the whole trilogy itself. And End of Watch was just boring. And he threw in this whole thing of like telekinesis and psychic stuff, which was very Stephen King-esque. Like, these two books don't read like Stephen King at all. There's nothing weird or extra gory about them. And then End of Watch, all of a sudden we have telekinesis and psychic abilities, and it just didn't fit for the world that he had painted in these books, where nothing supernatural happens. It felt like he just needed to throw something in there to be like, oh hey, I'm Stephen King.
I was like, it was 2 books, and now I just can't help myself.
Yeah. So it's like, I didn't like that. It helped the story a bit, because otherwise it would have been even more boring than it already was. But it didn't mesh. It didn't work. So I don't know. I say just skip this trilogy entirely. This one was okay. This one, honestly, you could read this one and not the others and be perfectly fine. I would recommend this one, I guess. If you really wanted to read any of these books, read this one. The other two, just forget about it.
Okay.
I'm
There
done
you go.
talking. I don't want to read that many books again because I am so tired of talking. That was too much. I'm stressed, and now I'm just tired.
Because, you know.
11 books is a lot. And I'm sad I forgot my notebook because I can't talk about 11 books without notes. Okay, because 11 books is just too many books to try and remember.
You want to say 11 books one more time?
Yes, 11 books I read. But anyway,
Alright.
our camera battery is about to die. And so hopefully we can get this done before it does, because I don't want to cap and change it just for like 2 seconds of an outro. So anyway, if you enjoyed watching this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed, go on down below the video, hit that red subscribe button, and join the Everyday Adventurer family, where you can see our beautiful faces every Sunday with new book videos. Also, if you are wanting even more content from the Everyday Adventurers, then go and join channel memberships, where you can get members only videos and early access to the non-book content.
Yes. And speaking of the non-book content, there's all kinds of stuff on Amy's channel that you can go check out. Home decor, home fashion.
I mean,
That's kind of home decor.
yeah.
Home stuff, baking stuff, cooking stuff. And if that's not enough, go check out her blog too. I mean, there's a whole bunch more stuff in the Everyday Adventurers family, so go check it all we
Yeah, so hope you enjoyed watching, and I'm Amy,
And I'm Kelly.
and we are the Everyday Epic. See you in the next one.
Bye.
Yes, we got it!